So we're 5 years in, and it has been a roller coaster ride all along the way. But God has been faithful. I can remember back when we were going to have our first preview service. We were all set to be inside of a school on the east side of Pembroke Pines.
We had bought 200 chairs.
Sitting in their cafeteria.
We were going to donate it. Well, we donated to the school. And we had raised a team of 30 people to come in and set up on a Thursday evening because there was no school on Friday. It was Good Friday. And 20 minutes before we were supposed to be in there, you get a phone call from the principal.
And the principal says, listen, I understand you guys have a contract. I understand that you've paid for your first couple months, but you can no longer have the building. Said, what do you mean I can't have the building? We have everything all set. We have flyers printed with the address on it. How can we not have the building? Well, we've had a disagreement with the janitor, and the janitor holds the keys to the buildings here in the schools, and I'm sorry, the janitor's not willing to work Sundays anymore. I don't know if the janitor got fired or whatnot, but we just can't give you the building anymore. I said, well, you're the principal. You unlock it for us. Doesn't work like that. Sorry, we're not going to be able to honor the contract. You need to find a new location. And so I turned around to the 30 people and kind of said, guys, there's pizza available for all of you. And I'm not sure what we're going to do, but we got to pray and we got to figure this out. And we all started joining together in prayer. And then I went off into the corner, and I think I went down into my car and kind of freaked out at that point.
We felt like we had been hit in the gut because we had spent 6 months getting ready for this. And God had aligned everything, and we had no idea. We had already mailed out 1,000 flyers to the community. We had signs with the school's name. We had everything. We had no idea what we were going to do. We started driving around East Pines looking at available open fields, trying to see if we put posters into at the school telling people go to so-and-so open field, that's where we're meeting.
We were just going to have an outdoor worship service at that point. And that's when I had the idea, let's call the Regal Movie Theater. I had started with conversations with them about 10 months prior. And I knew this was a good location, but we really wanted to be in a partnership with the school, so that's why we went with the school. And lo and behold, the guy who had told me about the Regal Movie Theater was now working at the Regal Movie Theater. He was a pastor, and he had gotten a job. Now he was bivocational, working at the Regal Movie Theater, and he said, let me check with the person that you spoke to before if that location is still available. Calls me back 30 minutes later and says, Chris, we get 2 phone calls a week on this spot from churches wanting to rent. This is one of our main locations that churches are wanting to rent. And we have held this spot open for you guys for the last 10 months. It is available. By the way, it normally takes 2 weeks for contracts to go through. We're going to push it through to get you in this spot within 48 hours. Blew my mind how God had moved that mountain for us. Every single time since we tried to run away from the Regal Movie Theater, it seemed like God kept us there. He wanted us there in that spot to minister to those people. And that's where the church began. And not just that, to look back on all of it, how God was just faithful in those 5 years. When we first moved down and we were driving around Pembroke Pines and Miramar, we were doing prayers around the city. I looked at Everglades High School and I said, Viv, that's our place. That's where God wants us. And we found out after that there was already a church worshiping there. And then so we started this contract with the new school. Then God placed us at the Regal, and we just knew, lo and behold, years later, we're trying to run away from the Regal. He wouldn't let us run away from it. Until one day we had outgrown the theater. What were we going to do? They kept raising the rates. They kept raising the price. We were running out of seats at the time. And I started looking around at schools again going, I don't know where we're going to go. We're kind of maxing out our space here. And I walked into Everglades High School, And I'm not kidding you. I had been told no by all the different schools around here. They wouldn't even talk to me. They just call me back and say, nope, janitor won't do it. I walk into Everglades High School one afternoon with Dwayne and just say, hey, we're kind of interested in renting your space. Want to find out if you guys would be willing. We knew there was a church here years before. That church had moved on. They were no longer there. I was met by the vice principal, 2 other people who gave us a tour around the whole building. I walked out of there within 35 minutes with a contract in my hand where God had pointed us years before. And it wasn't in our timing. It was obviously in God's timing. But he had laid out and moved all those mountains and told us years ago where we were going to be. And here we are. And now we're looking for the next chapter of what God's going to do, because he's going to do it again.